Good afternoon, guys, and thank you for joining Security BSides Milano 2023. Today, after your lunch, I would be pleasure to tell you a story, something that we as Group AB faced almost 1 year ago. And that I hope will be really interesting to you, and I hope that you will enjoy. I tried to make my presentation light and a bit short, just because anyway, today is Saturday, we are all like almost on vacation, and I think that you deserve something more simple. Let me first of all, introduce myself. I'm Vito Alfano. I work since 2006 as a security expert. I've been in many companies, and I had the opportunity to face many incidents and to see many things and many technologies. I don't want to read what I've too complex, and what I will tell you today, well, I will try to introduce the topic of this speech, and then how all the detail began, and how we succeeded somehow to initiate our instant response, identifying the threat, and attributing all the indicators and unmasking the actor, and at the end cutting down the threat. So kicking off the threat actor from our customers' perimeter. And last but not least, I hope how somehow you could face this kind of menaces, and how you could react. So let's start. Are you sure that you are safe? I mean, are you pretty sure that your perimeter is secured enough and nobody could breach into? And are you sure that in the past nothing happened? These are the main questions that we try to answer. More or less creating what we call compromise assessment. Compromise assessment simply is instant response, but without an incident. I mean, something that could help you to understand if any threat actor breached your perimeter and succeeded to exfiltrate data or doing something else. So we merged cyber threat intelligence, instant response, and also a part of the threat hunting to create this sort of framework and to be focused on finding the real evidence of something malicious. The main aim is to give the capability to any customer to react responding in a fastly way, and to be ready to assess, to remediate to any potential threat. I will not give you many details about the context, because many information have been covered by the NDA. But I can tell you that what happened according in the Middle East, the victim was a huge international company with thousands of people, thousands of systems, and so on. And I will not tell you the incident now, I will tell you later. But I can tell you that the scope was the espionage and data exfiltration. So, sorry. How everything began? As any kind of tale, there is always once upon a time, But when you face an incident, there is once you put the time followed by the end. That's it, because it already happened and you couldn't do anything. So this is how usually, quite often, the advanced and persistent threat hunt begins. So you don't have time to save Little Red Riding Hood, but you have time to hunt the wolf and catch him and somehow kill him or kick him off. In our case, everything began the day when our compromise assessment team started its activity with the customer. Once they got the access to the customer's headquarters, they started the assessment looking for any suspicious evidence. What means? It means collecting forensics data and logs, of course. Then going through, analyzing all the collected data and trying to identify any kind of indicator that something happened, so over-compromise over the threat actor presents. And then trying to drawing up a detailed report about the malicious activity, just to be able to build a reaction plan with the customer. In our case, our team found almost immediately many evidence that somebody was into the perimeter, was acting. So they just declared the incident, and this was our reaction when we have been called. So we felt like apocalypse now. But the problem was how the client, the customer, somehow reacted. And the problem was, okay, dear customer, what if I told you that you have been hacked? And the customer started to cry. And obviously, they asked for an help to react. So we started, as usual, as in many incidents, we started our incident response in a simple and fast way. We use a model based on a sort of intelligence-driven response framework. So we determine what kind of threat you are going to face. You establish exactly where the threat spread up, and then you decide what to do to react, collecting at the same time all the useful data that you will share with your threat intelligence to ask them to enrich what you found, and then trying to somehow to resume everything and summarize and build on one hand a detailed timeline, and on the other hand, a complete detailed picture of your adversary. So you will be able then to disseminate and inform all the authorized parties, just to give them the opportunity to react in a proper way. Unfortunately, our plan didn't go as expected. I mean, we found the threat, we found the indicators, and we tried to establish with the customer what to do. But unfortunately, the customer just updated us that they didn't have several logs. Their CM wasn't collecting everything, and that when they somehow thought that something strange was going on, they just deleted some evidence, and also they reboot their system. So deleting what was useful for us to complete our analysis. But we were ready, so no panic. We always have a plan B. So essentially, the idea was we need logs, a lot of logs, because yes, compromise assessment can produce a lot of evidence and information, but you need to extract through a triage image and more information. And in this case, we just selected the most important asset where we extracted triages data, then we correlated this data with what the compromise assessment found, and we matched this information with the cyber threat intelligence to understand which kind of threat we were facing, and obviously who was the threat actor. So we try to also identify all the relevant indicators via CM, also via XDR, and then like a continuous incident response process, trying to extract as many forensics data as we could, just to correlate them and to find new indicators and to have a clear overview of the impacted perimeter. So we just merged what the compromise assessment team found, what our DFIR team found, and what the cyber threat intelligence somehow catched and identified. So unifying all this data, we've been able to identify clearly who was behind the attack. And this just leads us to reveal what was the threat. The main thing was the number of assets that have been impacted by the attack. And we had tons of mail server, Active Directory servers, and hundreds of users, and also their hosts, and tons of privileged users that have been compromised. And what was mostly not annoying, but a little bit worrying, was how the attacker successfully evaded the security solution that the customer had in place, and how he succeeded to proceed with a silent data exfiltration. Then, when we realized what was the magnitude of the incident, we just were a little bit shocked, because the first evidence was dated to 2019, so 3 years before our team started the assessment. So for 3 years, the attacker operated and acted silently, while the customer didn't just realize what was going on. In 2021, the actor started like mail server, Active Directory exfiltration, remote access, and also at the end data exfiltration. And the same in 2022. So for 3 years, the attacker was able just to operate. This is why we established that we were in front of an advanced persistent threat. So long period, complex technique, and at the end, persistence and data exfiltration. So the main feature of what we can call or name advanced persistent threat. The feeling was like living the alternative version of Back to the Future. In our case, well, Back to the Past, because 2019 was really a long time ago, and it was impressive to realize that they have been acted so long time ago. This was what we succeeded with all analysis to build as a timeline. So in 2019, the first evidence just gave the proof that the threat actor executed a collection of VBS script on the domain controller to run P-Link, a famous tool used to establish remote connection, but most of all to exfiltrate data remotely. In 2020, the attacker succeeded to deploy a web shell on almost the 90% of the customer mail servers. But most important, the attacker used exactly the same exploit that had been revealed by the famous Chinese researcher in 2020, in almost 2021. So they somehow were aware about the vulnerabilities that somehow afflict Microsoft Exchange. In 2021, they implanted new web shells just to be able to access whenever they wanted and to do the silent operation. And in the same year, they just went through with LSAS dump, continuously execute on mail servers just to catch newly created users and credentials. And in the same year, they started with the data exfiltration via domain controller. Then in 2022, a new spear phishing campaign, the RAT remote access tool implant, and then Cobalt Strike recon tools and data exfiltration. And this was a bit weird because we just asked to ourselves, why to use a spear phishing campaign when you already got the access inside the victim perimeter? This is why there were exactly two advanced persistent threats that were operating in the same time. We had two threat actors who somehow compromised the perimeter and successfully exfiltrated data. So it was time to somehow update the customer. And when we realized that there were two APT, this was like a double facepalm situation. Like, come on, we never seen two threat actors in the same moment, but it's okay. This is why we love our job. The problem was when we had to update the customer. So how we succeeded to track, attribute, and identify the threat actors? Mainly, we used three well-known framework. One is the cyber key chain, to identify and establish exactly all the different stages of the attack. Then the TTP has been tracked thanks to the MITRE attack metrics, and then the real attribution of the attack and the identification of the attacker was done with somehow with a diamond model. So this is the first information about the first threat actor. So we know, of course, accordingly what we found and we tracked about the first APT. We have seen the exchange server exploitation. We have seen the installation of recon tools, web shell, and RAT. We have seen the command and control through external sito servers to not just control the victim's assets, but also to be able to exfiltrate silently the data. And then at the end, lateral movement via WMI, PowerShell, then some internal recon tasks, and then like a privilege escalation, password dumping, data collection, and of course, the main hem, the data exfiltration. And this is what we successfully mapped on my tree attack. I don't know if you see, maybe there is a little delay. Okay, a little delay. This is the Matre attack map of the first threat actor. We like colored and stylish map, you know, with this like laser-based graph. As you can see, there are many sub-techniques and sub-techniques that somehow have been seen during the first threat actor identification. And this is what we successfully found out about the threat actor. So we know that the intent was data theft. The attribution is still ongoing, but we somehow confirmed what is the country, but we cannot reveal now. We know that these threat actors, impacted Middle Eastern entities. We succeeded to identify their command and control infrastructure, and also to establish their capabilities. So web shell, mimikatz, also several self-developed exfiltration tools, then the usage of p-link and several scripts for any other malicious automation. Relating to the second threat actor, we have been able to identify many other information. So we know that the threat actor created a tailored packet remote access tool with a tailored and highly customized configuration. He delivered via spear phishing campaign this package. Then he just waited for the execution of several scripts, thanks to the usage of the remote access tool. Then he just proceeded further, creating some scheduled tasks to download and execute. At first to exfiltrate some information about the impacted assets, and then to be able to deliver several other remote access tools and to exfiltrate data. This just guaranteed the persistent connection to external sito servers via several tools like eOrus, Cobalt Strike, and Screen Connect. And then, related to action on objective, they just performed a lot of data movements via PowerShell and also RDP, of course. They succeeded to do internal reconnaissance, then privilege escalation. They compromised privileged users, and then they started to dump passwords and other information about the infrastructure. And also they tried to do some time stomping to avoid to be identified, or just to avoid that somebody could extract any evidence about their action. And at the end, data collection and exfiltration. This is the Matre attack map of the second threat actor. As you can see, it's a little bit bigger and maybe a little bit more complex, with many other techniques and cyber techniques, but also with many tools that they use during their attack. So we proceeded to use the diamond model and to extract, to map the information about the threat actor. And this model clearly helped us to understand who was behind the attack and to give him a name. Here are the main information that we use to name the threat actor. So we just considered the capabilities of the tools that the attacker used. We considered the intent, espionage and data exfiltration. Then we identified something among all the indicators related to the infrastructure, and also the context, so the victim, Middle Eastern. And we were sure that it was someone that we really know pretty well and that was really famous. So it was time to pass this information to the customer. And the aftermath was, okay, dear customer, what if I told you that you have been hacked by not one, but two advanced persistent threats, and one of them is muddy water? And the customer was like Michael Jordan, crying and just helping, asking for an help to face the threat and somehow keep them, the threat actors off from the infrastructure. So, who is muddy water? Well, as we know pretty well, and as many researchers and vendors have been published in the past, muddy water is a group, an Iran-based espionage-motivated group that somehow many researchers link to the Iranian Ministry of Intelligence and Security, or MOIS. And it was tracked since 2017. It is famous also because a few years ago, a group of researchers, mostly of them Iranian, were the author of a famous data leak about this group and all the information that had been published on Telegram and on Twitter. Muddy water has many names. Unfortunately, as I'm sure you are aware, the naming convention for cyber threat actors is quite messy. So there is no one standard name for a threat actor, but there are many names, and each vendor assigns its own name. And every time we have to update the list of names that you can see here has been updated after the Microsoft released its own new taxonomy. Muddy water mainly targeted government entities, telco, energy and oil companies, defense entities, and also research and financial as well. And they never limited their actions in one region, but they covered almost all the globe. So from North America to Latin, so South America, Africa, Asia, and Europe. And their main scope was always the espionage and data exfiltration. So how did we find and track muddy water, and what was the way we used to establish what they did? So we kept our attention on the TTP, on the tools, and on the context. That is, it was quite important. Also for what I will tell you later. So, related, just focusing on the TTP. First action, they on the web weaponization delivery, they prepared this spear phishing attack, drawing up a mail that was perfect. This mail was analyzed by Arabic-speaking people, and they established that it was perfect. No one grammar typo error, no one evidence that was like something malicious. And essentially, I'm sorry, I apologize, I didn't translate it. Essentially, the mail communicated to many employees, dear employee, we hope you're okay. We want to communicate to you that you have been selected to get a sort of benefit. So we invite you to open this file and to execute it to be able to give you all the details. And obviously, the employees just decompressed the file and executed what was inside. Unfortunately, they didn't know that inside the package it was the remote access tool customized by the attacker. I know, I'm pretty sure that you are thinking, oh, I wouldn't be victim of phishing. I would be really aware and safe, and I wouldn't open this attachment. But trust me, it was really a well done, well designed phishing attack. So they just, when the employees, the victim, executed the MSI, it was just installed a screen connect that was perfectly customized and tailored for that victim. So since the moment the screen connect was executed, the attacker was ready to control and manage the victim assets. After getting the access, the Muddy Water immediately started with more complex operations. So they created essentially they used two main techniques, but based on scheduled tasks. And the main reason is that a scheduled task configured to use the NT authority, so the most highest NT system authority, the most highest privilege, gave to the actor the opportunity to execute whatever he wanted, just bypassing any kind of security solution. So on the first screenshot on top, the attacker just executed like a VBS file that invoked a TLB with an obfuscated VB script that invoked another obfuscated payload that was saved into the system registry. And while the obfuscated and executed, it just established a connection with the external sito servers, sending all the information about the compromised asset. On the bottom, the attacker, what you can see on the bottom, the attacker just executed an obfuscated, same technique. So scheduled tasks, invoking a UNMASKIng method that invoked an XSL file that somehow invoked a GSC file containing an obfuscated payload, that executed VB script that consequently just invoked the malicious payload inside of a registry key that executed a PowerShell that at the end delivered the Cobalt strike, giving to the attacker the complete access and control of victims' hosts. And at the end, after installing compromised first asset, the attacker just started the lateral movement, transferring and installing Cobalt strike, and starting to exfiltrate some information. On the bottom image, it showed like a part of information that they exfiltrated. We just canceled some details, but it was a DB server that was dumped and exfiltrated. On the middle image, in the image in the middle, it is the part of the payload. I mean, the command execute for Cobalt Strike, and on the top you can see that they also executed ⴤ as a recon tool, and the first interaction date was as we found in the 2022. Then the attacker just realized that he needed some other tools, something that was more useful for its operations, and it started just to download some software, and it was quite funny to discover that he mainly used as a source website like some URL hosted in Iran, because Iranian APT trusts no one, just the Iranian website. So this is what the TTP that was more or less built, and what I just described was done in 13 hours. In the first day, Muddy Water started the action at 9 in the morning and completed last action at 10 in the evening. And in this time frame, they succeeded to compromise tons, like almost 50 systems, and to dump hundreds of users. This is the map that we built about the tools that the attacker used. So spear phishing through one app and also Azure Cloud, exploitation done via PowerStats and Mimikatz, installation of malicious payload via XSL scripting, PowerStats and VB scripts. Then command control and persistence, thanks to Screen Connect, Cobalt Strike, EORS, a really simple and light agent that was found in hundreds of systems, and also AnyDesk. And then just to act, we succeeded to find evidence about the use of AD Recon, Pin Castle. The first time that we have seen Pin Castle used by an APT, so it was quite surprising. Then ⴤ, Crack Map Exec, FRP, that it is a reverse proxy, NetScanner, Ligolo as usual. SOX proxy made with PowerShell, Navicat, Cobalt Strike, and again, PowerStats. Now, the context is the main part of the attribution. We cannot disclose the country, of course, because everything is TLP. This data is detail is TLP red and is covered by NDA. Even the sector, we can just say that it was a Middle Eastern entity, that the scope was the espionage, and most important, strategic information. Why the threat actor compromised that victim? Our CTI team highlighted a link related the strategic information and the geopolitically assumptions, but unfortunately, sorry guys, I cannot tell you more. So once we just identified who was the attacker, we had just to react. So how we cut down the threat? Well, being in front of APT, we just played like hide and seek. So we just spent our time keeping our attention on the threat actors' actions and just seeing what they were doing. So we let the attacker act, we observe their actions, we track their TTP, we identify their tools, and we identified a lot of new indicators that have been reached thanks to the cyber threat intelligence. And this let us outline what was the real impacted perimeter. That means that we were able to establish where the attacker was still present and acting and where the attacker still didn't get the access. So it was time to plan the strategy and to react. First of all, we installed an ad hoc solution on every host that was impacted. So inside in the identified impacted and compromised perimeter. Then we developed and implemented tailored rules on their CM and on their EDR and MXDR. We fed their security solution with new indicators. And we just started to surround, block, and segregate the perimeter where the attacker was operating. What was surprising and really funny was how the attacker evaded the EDR, a well-known EDR solution, and how this EDR solution started to trigger some alerts 2 weeks later that we started the DFIR activities. And it was also funny how the vendor contacted us to ask many information details, and of course we couldn't give them many details. So after 2 weeks, maybe a little bit more, so about 20 days of activities, we just kicked the threat actors out, thanks to the support of threat intelligence and compromise assessment, and thanks also to the knowledge sharing with the customer that was somehow taught on how to react to this kind of threat. For this kind of activities, we have built our book, The Zen of Defense of Group IB. And the main principle is avoid where the enemy is attentive and strike where he is negligent. And this first part is extracted by The Art of War. And we just add, and then enjoy your beer, because at the end of each activity, you need just to chill for a bit and just to enjoy the result of your activity. So our most important rules are, at first, you need to plan a compromise assessment to understand if something happening inside your perimeter. I wanted to remind that compromise assessment is not threat hunting. We never do hypotheses. We use cyber threat intelligence driven framework to know exactly if something happened and who was behind that event. And for this reason, you need to build a good threat model through cyber threat intelligence. And also, thanks to your, after you somehow successfully built your asset management. Because if you don't know your territory, how can you be able to defend it? Then you must read about advanced persistent threat TTP to recognize the symptoms of their presence. And always somehow observe the cyber keychain model just to understand what is going on in each stage of the attack. because each stage can give you the opportunity to block the attack in a specific moment and just avoid that the attacker proceed to the next one. And then you just need to collect as many memes as you can just to chill for a while and to love. At the end, you can relax and enjoy your beer. So I just completed my tale. I hope you enjoyed and you like it. So I would like just to thank you for being and joining Security BSides in Milan. And if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask, and I will try to answer. Thank you.
Allora, Claudio.
Eccoci, mamma mia, cioè,
dopo il pranzo
partire così a strappo, però devo dire, talk interessantissimo, e ti dirò, Felchio, riguarda molto quello che facciamo noi.
Sì, ha parlato di Mitra, ha parlato di ⴄᴜⴜ ha parlato di diversi argomenti, insomma, che riguardano un po' tutto il mondo della sicurezza,
del lato nostro, CTI che non so se anche tu hai la percezione, non sempre gli viene dato, come dire, il giusto valore, il giusto riconoscimento rispetto a effettivamente il lavoro che fanno. CTI in realtà supporta qualsiasi step e qualsiasi attività viene svolta in ambito security.
Certo.
Oggi ci ritroviamo soprattutto per quello che facciamo noi, quindi quando abbiamo dall'altro lato un cliente da andare a difendere, o comunque sia, non dico attività di incident response perché uno ne parla sempre, però spera sempre di non metterle mai di non arrivare mai a quel punto, perché vuol dire che hai fatto un buon lavoro preventivamente. Però tuttavia, quando arrivi alla fase di risposta agli incidenti, quello che è il lavoro fatto in ambito CTI è fondamentale, è importantissimo, anche perché ti permette, partendo proprio da quelli che sono gli IOC, gli indicatori di compromissione, che vai scoprendo man mano che studi quello che è la natura dell'incidente e quello che viene fuori, di andarti a costruire una strada piuttosto che un'altra.
Sì, no, sicuramente gli indicatori sono importantissimi, bisogna sempre aggiornare le fonti di intelligence con appunto più fonti possibile. Poi aveva fatto all'inizio della presentazione una considerazione giusta, che dice: se hai perso l'evidence e sul SIEM non tieni tutti i log. Questo ad esempio è una cosa molto dibattuta sul SIEM, tenere tutti i log, non tenere tutti i log.
Guarda,
è una bella...
avvii una discussione lunga, davvero. Dovremmo proporre ai ragazzi del B-side di fare un B-side blue team, in cui prendere tutti questi punti e andarli a sviscerare, perché personalmente poi, ovviamente magari ogni esperienza è diversa dalle altre, ma personalmente sono un promotore, un sostenitore di log sul SIEM, ovviamente un SIEM tunato bene, ardenizzato, con regole ad hoc, che ti consente di fare veramente tutto, e allora lì hai modo di fare qualsiasi tipologia di attività, anche preventiva, di threat hunting, eccetera eccetera.
Però tutti i log o solo parte dei log? Perché ad esempio se utilizzi un SIEM come WASU ti permette, no, di fare le regole che ti vanno a prendere solo determinati log, quindi ti perdi tante informazioni. E lì c'è il gioco forza tra il repository quanto è grande, l'importanza dei log, e lì si potrebbe aprire veramente un dibattito.
Quello sì,
grande.
perché effettivamente ci sono delle cose, ma guarda, allora, per esperienza ti posso dire che solitamente mi è capitato ad oggi di lavorare WASU nell'ultimo periodo, ma altri due big in ambito SIEM che sono QRadar e Splunk. Arrivato a quel punto, selezione ovviamente dei log, non ti fa arrivare la qualsiasi, log significativi, però lì devi avere dei bravi analisti che riescono a capire log source per log source quello che ti serve. E allora arrivato a quel punto va bene. senza contare, giusto per riagganciarci allo speech che abbiamo appena sentito, tutto il lato threat intelligence, quindi avere un SIEM che ti consente integrazioni con piattaforme esterne quali TIP, MISP, chi più ne ha più ne metta. Ovviamente vai a vai ad allargare quella che è la potenza del tuo strumento e davvero riesci a fare cose divertenti e di grande prevenzione.
Sì, se poi ci aggiungi un SOAR a tutto il discorso, ecco che diventa...
Ecco che l'azienda generalmente e lì generalmente c'è il CISO che va a litigare poi con l'amministrazione per aggiungere il SOAR, però anche lì dei SOAR opportunamente tunati riesci veramente a ottenere uno strumento, diciamo che raggiungi un buon livello di difesa. Certo, poi come diceva ᴑᴜᴜ, tu puoi avere la difesa del sistema più impenetrabile del mondo, abbiamo sempre il solito unico punto vulnerabile,
l'umano, l'essere umano.
L'essere umano. Però su quello devo dire che ultimamente con tutti i vari programmi di awareness e aziende che sono molto più sensibili sotto questo punto di vista, ne abbiamo parlato anche poco fa con Riccardo, sì. Per quello che sono appunto i programmi di awareness che anche loro portano avanti, devo dire che si sta riuscendo a dare una buona educazione agli utenti e quindi riuscire a intervenire e intercettare in tempo quelle che possono essere delle falle o dei comportamenti non corretti.
Sì, come dici giustamente tu, l'utente ha sempre l'anello debole. Una mail di phishing ben scritta, possiamo essere tutti potenziali vittime, anche chi fa questo lavoro, insomma.
Esatto. Rischia di caderci.
Sì, è un attimo, basta un momento di distrazione, è facilissimo.
Allora, dalla regia mi fanno cenni con fuochi d'artificio che è pronto il prossimo relatore. Abbiamo